of you, I'm sure, are aware of the famous dynamic duo known as Bonnie and Clyde. You've heard their stories, how they died, but have you heard where it all began? The time of Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow's crime spree occurred in the Dirty Thirties, also known as the Dust Bowl. Due to dust storms and droughts, America and Canada's agriculture failed to have successful crop seasons, putting many farmers and civilians out of work. The cement city slums in Texas were known as the worst of the Dust Bowl. With fewer jobs and crops, crime soared to an all-time high. Bonnie Parker was unfortunate to live in these times, and when her dreams of becoming a star looked bleak, she fell in love with repetitive convict Clyde Barrow and ran to a life of crime and excitement. Clyde Barrow never meant to live the life of crime he had gotten stuck in. He first registered for the U.S. Navy but got shot down due to a childhood illness of yellow fever. When his dreams of being in the Navy failed, he began to turn his life towards being a criminal. In 1932, Clyde met Bonnie and started the most famous crime spree in history. Not long after the first crime, Clyde was arrested and sent to a prison farm where he would come out with more rage and hate for the law than ever before. After being released from prison, his motivation for this life of crime would include revenge, excitement, and the unknown. He would forever be sleeping with one eye open. It was when Clyde was taken away to prison for 2 years on 5 counts of car theft that his hatred for the law deepened. He was sent to Easton Prison Farm in Lovelady, Texas. Easton Prison was known for its brutality and harsh living conditions. What Clyde didn't know was that he would partake in the most famous murder of this prison farm's history. Clyde was aware of the things that Ed Crowder was known for outside and inside of prison. He took precautions when it came to showering, but on one night when he was alone, Ed Crowder sexually assaulted him. After this turn of events, he was determined to get revenge. One inmate from the farm accounted, "I saw Clyde Barrow change from a schoolboy to a rattlesnake right before my eyes." After becoming a victim of rape, Clyde would never act the same again. Teaming up with another convict with a life sentence, he hatched out a plan to murder Ed Crowder. His accomplice, Aubrey Scaly, was to take the fall for the heinous crime. In February of 1932, Clyde was set out for parole with help from his mother. Although he was not aware of this detail the day he had enough of Easton's brutality and work, Clyde purposely chopped off 2 of his toes with an axe while working so he would be sent to the prison infirmary. While in the infirmary, Clyde learned of his parole and was set free. Once set free, he vowed for revenge on all the brutal officers, saying, "I would like to raid this place, free as many prisoners as I can, and kill every damn guard in the place." 4 years later, Clyde conspired with convict Floyd Hamilton and ex-convict Jimmy Mullins to break prisoners out of Easton. Even though Clyde didn't get his wish of killing the guards, several were wounded and not able to capture fleeing inmates until later on. To stay away from Easton Prison, Clyde had to consider many extreme tactics. One way he did this was by using only a certain vehicle, the V8 Ford, for his go-to car when being chased. With a V8 engine, compared to the low-grade vehicles used by the cops, he would get away each time. Also, to keep his name out of the law, he would rarely steal from banks, but try to rob mom-and-pop stores instead. Another tactic of his was driving all through the day and night, switching the license plate with each passing state. Blanche Barrow, Clyde's sister-in-law, recalls, "All of us had a lot of fun together, but to me there always seemed to be a shadow hanging over us like a dark cloud." What she didn't know was that Clyde would carry his time at Easton throughout his whole life. He was terrified of the unknown and what lay ahead for him and Bonnie. Living on the run, they had developed a new type of fame and could no longer return to their normal lives before 1932. Bonnie once told Blanche how she wished she was as free as her and Buck, Clyde's older brother, knowing that she could never take back the part she had played in their hectic life. On one horrific summer day, a shootout could be heard throughout the southern hills. Clyde and his partner at the time, W.D. Jones, heard gunfire coming their way and instinctively took cover. When firing back and forth, many of Clyde's posse was wounded. He was hit in the cheek, Bonnie in the stomach, and Buck in the back of the head, dragging Blanche down with them. Clyde knew that if he was to save Buck, he would surely be caught, but if he helped Bonnie, he would have a clean getaway. His choice was simple. He left with Bonnie, leaving Buck and Blanche to be caught and Buck to die 5 days later in the hospital. The death of Bonnie and Clyde was a planned event by J. Edgar Hoover, director of the Bureau of Investigation. He made it his top priority to kill these 2 criminals with the help of Texas Ranger Frank Hamer. Henry Method, one of Bonnie and Clyde's last members of their Elite gang, helped gain knowledge for this shootout. His father, Ivan Method, was being harassed by cops and civilians for the location of Bonnie and Clyde. In order to give the information to Hamer, Ivan asked for his son's death penalty to be dropped. When the official FBI report was shown, Henry willingly spoke of their current position. With inside information on Bonnie and Clyde's whereabouts, Henry was able to set up camp for 2 days and nights in the woods at the side of Highway 155 near Gibson, Louisiana. At 9:15 on May 23, 1934, Bonnie and Clyde were shot to death on sight. Altogether, Bonnie had 53 shots, Clyde 51, and their vehicle over 100. Despite how illegal the killing of Bonnie and Clyde was, it seemed that Hoover and the rest of the law could finally take a breather, knowing that they had put an end to the famous crime spree of Bonnie and Clyde. No matter the price, Clyde was determined to never go back to prison. "I'm not ever going back to that Easton prison hellhole. I'll die first, I swear it. They're gonna have to kill me," he said to his mother when being released in 1932. His tactics and way of living had helped him for almost 4 years before the law caught up with him. Driving all night, switching license plate, robbing small stores, and in the end, protecting only him and Bonnie, left Clyde on the run from the biggest fear for many years. No matter how far away from the past Clyde was, until his death, he would always be running from prison, from officers, and from Easton Prison.